Hello there everybody, Sam'sTrains here and welcome back to the railway. Today I'm launching a whole range of homemade goodies, and it sounds like I've been baking, but I haven't. They're models. This is the biggest launch I've ever done before because I'm releasing 5 new models today. Don't think I've done as many as 5 before. Anyway, they're all ready to go, they're ready to order right now, just in time for Christmas. And all of these models are designed personally by me. They are all made right here in this very room, and then I've hand painted and hand built all of them, which has been a massive task, but I just love it so much. It is one of my favorite things to do. And I'm really proud of these because none of them have ever been done before, I don't think. And they're all kind of firsts. You can only get them from me, and they're all limited edition. So can't wait to show you these. Fingers crossed you like them because I'm super happy with them. So the first model then is this. It is a Barry Railway 4-plank open wagon, and it's made from diagram 38. And this particular example, number 133, was one of just 6 of these wagons built by the Barry Railway Company in 1900. So it's a pre-grouping wagon, and it was built right at the turn of the 20th century. And this will be my first ever wagon to be made entirely from resin. So looking at this, there is no plastic on board whatsoever. And that does include the chassis and the bearings. And as you can see, that allows the underside to be much more realistic. Now, I've tested the resin chassis extensively on my wagon running machine, and this thing ran for days and days until the machine itself actually failed before the wagon did. So I replaced the drive shaft on that machine 4 times, running it for days and days between each swap. The wagons were still perfectly okay. After countless days worth of running, the bearings showed no signs of wear whatsoever, so I'm confident that these should last. Now, these are limited edition, and each one comes with a signed thank you card, and as you can see, there are just 60 of these, so they're extremely limited, and they're available on Etsy right now, so links in the description. More on this in just a second. The second wagon I'm releasing is this. I'm sticking with the Barry theme for this wagon, and I'm super excited about this one because, as you can see, this is another addition to my physical weathering range. So this is Barry Railway 131, and it's weathered with various paint effects, as you can see, and it's physically weathered too. And you can see here that the body simulates all sorts of distress with all the cracks and rotting and such. But this model doesn't have the Barry lettering on it, which makes this a more generic wagon. So this will fit onto any layout you like as a sort of old abandoned wagon. And these are limited edition as well, although there's a few more of these. So I've got 100 of these, and again, each wagon comes with a signed thank you card. They're the same price as well, £24.99 on Etsy. Okay, moving on to the next model, something a little bit different. I'm releasing this. So again, I'm staying with the Barry theme, but this time I'm doing a van. This is my first ever resin van, actually. And this is a diagram 50 10-ton goods van, which was one of 10 wagons built by Brown and Marshall in 1896. And again, this van is fully made from resin, and it matches the level of detail of new models made by professional manufacturers, except with a lower price, of course. And let me tell you, producing these for £24.99 each, I think was the hardest thing I've ever done. And no, my margins aren't great on these, but looking at the way it turned out, I do think it was worth it. And these are also limited edition, just 60 of these models made, and again they come with this signed thank you card. Once again, available on Etsy for £24.99. Next, I have my Christmas wagon, and that is this. It's a Barry Railway van again, but this time it's number 401, and it's painted up into a Santa Claus and Co livery instead of the Barry livery. So I thought it'd be nice to do a sort of subtler Christmas wagon this year, because a lot of Christmas wagons are very obviously Christmassy, and you end up looking a bit like a weirdo if you keep running them after Christmas. With this one though, like I say, it's a little bit subtler, so you can get away with running it after Christmas if you want to. These are also limited edition, just 85 of these made, and as all of these models do, they come with a signed thank you card, because I really do appreciate anybody that picks one of these up. Right, one more wagon, and this one is back due to popular request because the last batch of these sold out immediately within a couple of hours. It was just insane. So yes, it's back. My Furness Railway 2-plank wagon with the physical weathering. So this is back just for one last time, just so that the people that missed out last time can get a chance to grab one. So this time it's number 7179, which is a running number I've not done before, and I've made a few improvements to this model as well. So I've tweaked the brake rigging, I got some feedback on that, so I've made that even more realistic. And this time the wagon's been printed at an even higher resolution, so all of the detail is even crisper and better. And I'll show you a bit of a closer look at this later on. Once again, these are limited edition, so I've only produced 100 of these, and when these are gone, these are gone. So if you want to pick one of these up, they're available on Etsy now for £24.99. So I've put everything I've got into these models, and I think they look quite professional, but please bear in mind they are homemade. As much as I've tried to get them close to professional standards, they're still made by one man in a loft with his hands. Well, the painting and assembling anyway. So yeah, they might not be to the same standard as professional models. I do think it's getting harder to tell that, but please do bear that in mind before you make your purchase. Right, so that's the models, but that's not all. I'm also releasing this. So this is a gadget that I've had a need for years now, but I've never seen anything like it available. So the problem that this solves is as following. When I'm taking something apart, usually a locomotive, but it can be anything of course, I struggle to remember which screws went where. And of course if you mix the screws up, it can be a real nightmare putting whatever it is back together again. So my solution up until now has been to lay the screws out on a flat surface in the right order. But of course if you're not careful, you can mix them up anyway. And even if you don't, the screws can roll around and mix themselves up. So I usually end up spreading them out more, which of course takes up loads of space. So I've developed this special box which has an unusual lid on it. And by setting the lid into this second position where it locks, you've then got 15 neat compartments for each screw you remove. And there is a reason for these strange teardrop shaped holes in the lid as well. And that's so you can leave a screw on the end of your screwdriver, you pop it through one of the holes, pull back on the screwdriver, and the box grabs the screw so that you don't even have to touch the screw, and that speeds things up massively. Then when you've finished, you can close the lid if you want to, and that locks everything inside so the screws can't escape and you can move it around without getting them mixed up. And then when it's time to remove the screws, you can either set the box into the open position again and use a magnetic screwdriver to pull the screws back out, or you can remove the lid entirely and take the screws out with your fingers. And here's where the next bit of clever design comes in. If you've got a screw in a square compartment like this, you can't easily get it with your fingers. Your fingers end up pushing the screw to one edge of the compartment where it gets stuck, and it's really awkward to get the thing. My new screw boxes have these curved ramps in the bottom of each compartment so that your fingers can really grab them very quickly and easily. Check out how ergonomic that is. So happy with the way that works. And these boxes have 4 rubber feet pre-installed onto them so that they won't move around on your worktop. So really happy with these boxes. For me, this is going to be something that I use all the time. It's something that I've always wanted but never been able to get. So now you can. They're available on Etsy right now for £11.99 each. And of course, if you include one of these with your wagon orders, you can get postage combined as well. Finally then, I am launching another mystery box this year. They cost £19.99 each, and I've got just less than 30 of them available. So what these are is basically every year I make lots of models, of course, and throughout the year I make spares that I don't sell. I keep them back just in case I need to replace anybody's model or in case something gets broken. I also make lots of prototypes and test models before I release a model. So that means I've got loads of stuff left over every year, and of course this room's not very big, I don't have that much space, I've got no choice but to clear them out. So each mystery box has 2 ready-to-go models in them, and they are selected randomly from the following possible models. So I've got Era 1 coal wagons, I've got various Uncle Frederickson balancing train packs, lots of different versions of these available, so you'll just have to see what you get. There are Santa's sleigh wagons, they were last year's Christmas wagon. I've got some basic plastic LMS 3-plank wagons with accessories. Great Western 5-plank wagons, again all of these all come with accessories. I've got Era 1 flatbed wagons ready to go. Era 1 livestock wagons, they're pretty fancy looking actually. Not many of those, but there's a couple. I've got S&DJR vans. I've got some Uncle Frederickson's balancing railguns, again only 1 or 2 of those, but they're the last of them. There's the L&WR coach transporters. You can put a load on here and make that quite an interesting piece if you want to. And then I've got just one of last year's Halloween wagons, that is the Pumpkin Mobile, so we'll see who gets that. All of the models are brand new and some of them are even prototypes, so this is an interesting opportunity, I suppose, to get some Sam'sTrains pre-production models. Each mystery box is also going to come with at least 5 additional parts and accessories, which may or may not be useful. You might be able to use them to create something new, you might decide just to bin them, it's up to you. But again, they are selected randomly from the following selection. So I've got various spare Era 1 bodies, you could totally make something with these. I've got spare painted resin bodies, which either weren't perfect or the decoration went a bit wrong. These could be correctable, certainly they could be put to some sort of use. I've got various chassis, some of them are super detailed resin chassis that are either perfect and just spare or have minor imperfections, maybe they've got a small part broken or something like that. Some of these chassis I've got are plastic that were just spares. Again, you can use these to make new wagons if you want to. I've got some steel open wagon bodies which could be used. I've got some of Santa's sleighs on their own. Some of these sleighs have runners with them too, so I've paired the sleighs with the runners where possible. I've also got some packs of buffers, which again could be useful for wagon making. I've got packs of painted resin suitcases, which are great for station platforms. Packs of painted Christmas presents. I've got packs of painted turning wheels. Again, these could be useful for various projects, and various other accessories packs, which I'm giving out randomly. So the mystery boxes are ready to go now. Links below. These were very popular last year, but if you act quickly, you might be able to grab one. I'm sorry that I can't offer a choice of what's in your boxes, but the whole point of this is that it's a mystery. So if you fancy it, give it a go, see how it turns out, and if you want to make a video and show people what you get, feel free. Anyway, that's everything I'm peddling this Christmas, so now let me do some unboxings for you, and I'll talk about the wagons in a bit more detail. So I'll start by opening up one of the Barry number 133 open wagons for you, and just be cautious when you're opening these up because the models inside are quite fragile. So you've got to watch the buffers, make sure you're not breaking those off. The buffers are larger on this model than they have been on previous models. Also, make sure you don't accidentally pull off one of the brake handles. I have got spares though, so if there are any issues, I'll sort you out. But there you have it, that is the Barry open wagon. I will go much closer in and show you the detail on this. I created this wagon based on drawings, but what I didn't have was a drawing for the chassis. So what I did was sort of go shopping for a different chassis that I could model that would fit the body. So I chose an L&WR chassis, I think it was, from the same period. So I can't claim total accuracy where the chassis is concerned, at least. But I love this chassis because it has the single shoe brakes on both sides, which is super weird looking. I don't think I have a single other wagon like this in my collection. So when I saw that that was an option and it fit this body, I thought, yeah, that's the one I'm going to do. And as you can see, this single shoe brake mechanism is fully modelled here. Yes, on the front of the parts, and you can see we've got the brakes there, but also on the back. I've got all these sort of pins and parts fully modelled on here so that it's realistic right down on the underside. And as you can see, the chassis got all of these sort of springs and different details right down there on the underside. Let me also show you what accessories you get with this then. So I've already showed you the thank you limited edition card, which you get. You don't get a whole lot else. You get your NEM style couplings, which fit into the NEM pockets, so you can put whatever couplings you want into all of these wagons actually. And again, all of today's wagons that I'm launching come with a pair of static cosmetic chain link couplings, and you can pop these onto the coupling hooks, and that allows you to stand them in a siding where they'll look slightly more realistic. You can't use these couplings, but of course if you wanted to get some functioning chain link couplings and put them on the hooks, then you could do that. Anyway, let me show you some more of the details on Barry 133. So the Barry Railway rolling stock was painted into what they called red oxide livery, and there's some debate as to what exactly red oxide looked like. So this is my rendition of it. I've gone with a sort of darker version that you might normally see, and my thinking behind that is that it would have been a bit easier to maintain than the lighter shades. And as you can see, I've made some improvements to my homemade printing process so that the print work is nice and sharp. Although it's not actually printed at all of my decoration is painted on through stencils, and I'm trying to improve these stencils all the time to get the sharpness, because I think when I do get the sharpness, the stencils actually look better than the professional tampo prints, because I think they just look more painted on, don't they? That's what people have said about previous wagons I've done anyway. So nice and sharp, and the stencils are getting to the point now where I can actually use them to pick out details. So I've got the chains, as you can see, which have been picked out. Detail wise, you can see we've got all sorts of different riveting on this model. Plus, I noticed in photos that some of them are not actually rivets. They used these kind of square-headed nails, which I don't suppose is unique, but it's certainly an eye-catching feature of these wagons. Here's a look at one of the ends. You can see all of the detail here. And then we've got the inside of the wagon with the planking, as you can see. And of course, all of this is separately painted. Here's a look at the buffer beams. We've got the separately fitted buffers here with some nice detail to them, and then we've got the coupling hooks, and I've fitted the chains onto those so you can see what those look like. So there you have it, a nice, unique, unusual looking wagon, fully painted up and ready to run. And here is the weathered version of the same model, and it is painted into the same livery, but of course it looks totally different because of the heavy weathering. So the livery is more generic on this, as I say, so we've just got the small number down in the bottom left corner there, and that makes this look like it could have come from any sort of pre-grouping railway, or it could just be a generic private owner wagon or something like that. As you can see, it's got the physical weathering too, so some of my favourite aspects of this are the cracks in the body where the chain is attached. We've got a couple of big holes right the way through. I think the Furness Railway model that I did just had one hole all the way through. Well, this one's got two, so this side has been seriously battered. We've also got areas where the top of the planking has started to rot away, but the metal brackets have remained intact, as you can see. We've also got the interior, which is very, very heavily weathered. This looks like it's had a lot of years of heavy rain on it and that kind of thing. And of course the chassis is pretty heavily weathered too, with lots of mud splashed all over the wheels and the chassis as well. I think personally this is probably my best wagon to date. The weathering, the detail, I think it's all just come together to make something, again, a little bit special. So there you go, that's what number 131 looks like. Let's move on. Okay, let's move on and let me unbox one of the Barry vans. We'll go for Barry number 400. And the same is true with unboxing these, so just be nice and careful. Well, I say unboxing, unbagging them. Just be careful not to disturb the details as they come out of the bag. And here it is. And I'll show you the details on this in just a second. As you can also see, this runs on the same chassis, but the little number plate on the chassis does match the number depending on the model you get. So the chassis are not exactly identical. Each of the different models I've made has got to have a different chassis made for it, and then of course I've got to match them up to the correct ones. But yeah, a very unusual early looking van from the late 1800s. And accessories wise, this is the same as the open wagons. So you've got your pair of NEM tension locks and your pair of cosmetic chain link couplings, as well as of course the signed thank you card. Right, okay, let me show you some more of the details. And as you can see, the Barry vans are painted into the same sort of red oxide livery with the white lettering on board. I've also got quite a few details picked out on here. Some of the fittings around the doors here, these are picked out in black, and some of the bracing is picked out as well. Of course, the roofs are done in this kind of off-white colour as well, which again is a kind of classic Barry look. I love the way the white roofs look on the sort of red oxide body. Detail-wise, there is a lot going on here. As you can see, lots of rivets and different moulded effects, in inverted commas, going on. But I think the standout feature would be these kind of handrails. Now, if this was an injection moulded model, as most mass-produced models are, these would either have to be moulded or separately fitted. Now, if they were moulded, they wouldn't look right, they wouldn't stand out like this. If they were separately fitted, that would drive the cost up, and then there's a chance the factory would mess them up, make them wonky, the glue could be visible, they might drop off. Well, I think this is why 3D printing is the future of model railways, because these are 3D printed in place, which gives you the best of both worlds. So they look separately fitted, they stand out from the body, but they're not. I've not had to glue these in place, which means there's no risk of clumsy me putting these on wrongly. And as you can see, they're all absolutely perfect. Really, really pleased with these. So it's been difficult to do, but I think I have been able to produce a very, very detailed model at a relatively affordable price. Obviously 25 quid or so, it's not dirt cheap, and I wish they could have been cheaper for you. I have tried to keep the prices down, but I hope you will find that you get quite a bit for your money with these. The other thing about these is the weight. Now, the open wagons are a little bit on the light side. These are very, very heavy. In fact, let's do a bit of a weight comparison with some other ready-to-run vans. Right, so I've got various other 00 scale vans. They're all bigger than my Barry ones, but let's see what they weigh. So this is the Rapido Gunpowder. I won't stay still, but it's about, goodness sake, 42 grams, so just a hair over 40. We've got a Bachmann Southern van. Again, same kind of weight, about 40 grams. LSWR van from EFE Rail, about 40 grams. So 40 grams seems to be about the going rate for a van. Oh, the Oxford Rail van here is quite a bit lighter. That was 29 grams or so. Well, the Barry wagon, it's not got its couplings on, but I'll overlook that, is 37 grams. So I think to say it's smaller than all the others, the weight here is pretty much bang on. And I did that by putting literal money into these wagons. Seems insane, and I suppose it is, but I did my sums. I figured out what it was going to cost to buy weights to put into here. I looked at casting my own weights, which sounds silly, but I looked into it. No, it was cheaper to put literal cash into these wagons. So buy your Barry wagons today and get 4p cash back for every model you buy. And you'll get the cash, but you won't be able to get at it because the roofs don't come off. But if another recession comes and times are hard, the money's in there, ready for you to sort of break into the wagon and get it. But yeah, I thought you'd be interested in that. Chloe and I went down to the arcade, played the 2p machines, got myself a load of pennies to put into these wagons, and the weight, like I say, is really, really decent. I'm happy with that. Okay, the Christmas wagon then. So again, you've got the same accessories pack, just with a fancier thank you card in it this time, with the Christmas background like that. Let me just pull this out briefly then so I can show you the slightly different paint job. Oh, this is confusing. Where's the join? Oh, there it is. Confused by my own packaging bags. So yeah, this is the same wagon as the Barry van, except it's been painted up with S-Claws. So let me just show you that. There you go, S-Claws and Company, and this one's number 401, and it's also a 10-ton van. Otherwise, it's the same, so I won't go all over the details again. And then, of course, there's one more still to show you, and that is the latest Furness Railway wagon with the physical weathering. So let me pop this one out. And like I say, this one's been available before, so I won't go into too much detail on the features and such. I suppose if you want to learn more about these wagons, I'll pop a link just there. But yeah, this is the updated version, slightly different brake rigging on it, and like I say, slightly higher print quality. So let me just go over this and show you some of its different details. So just like my weathered Barry wagon, this has all sorts of distressing across the body, as you can see, including a nice hole right the way through. Again, this is just a step above just your painted weathering. The actual cracks and visible rot really do make this look like a genuinely old and abandoned wagon. As you can see, the printed on detail looks even better than it did before. Sharper riveting, more definition to all the parts than before, and the chassis, like I say, has been given the same treatment. So nice weathering, lots of detail on the brake rigging and such. I've made improvements to the buffers so that the slight sort of translucency to the buffers is gone. And again, like all of the wagons, these come with chain link couplings. So there you have it. That is just a quick close look at the Furness Railway 2-plank number 7179. Right, so I've got one each of all of the new wagons down onto the track, and I'm going to do a performance test for you. First of all though, let's talk about how free rolling these are. Now with the Furness Railway wagons, what I did was I made these wagons a little bit on the stiff side. Not much, just a little bit. Now that's not how I personally like my wagons to be. I prefer wagons to be as free rolling as they possibly can be, but I did that with the Furness Railway wagons so that people could put the weathered versions in a siding somewhere and they'd stay there without rolling away. And the feedback for that was fantastic. People said, yeah, that works really, really well. So I've done the same thing with the resin chassis. So yeah, they're not dreadfully stiff or anything, but they also don't roll as freely as other wagons do. Now, they're light enough, I think, so that this won't make a lot of difference. Your locos shouldn't struggle too much, but if they do struggle, you can add a bit of lubricant to the axles and that will free them up a bit. Right, let's see how the couplings get on then. So I've chosen the Andrew Barclay by Hattons as a kind of festive looking engine. So let's back up to the train and see how the couplings work. Nice and steadily does it, no cheating. There it goes, couplings sound like they're working properly. Right, we got them all. Just need the brake van. There we go. Right. Do we get them all? Yep. It's a full coupling. Oh, look at that. Amazing seeing a train. Oh, thank you for stopping there, Andrew Barclay, while we can look at it all. It's just cut out on the points there. Yeah, a train made entirely of wagons that I produced right here in this room, except for the brake van, of course. Right, well, before I test this around the track, let's send these over the points, and I'll just show you that they do perform okay, backwards and forwards over them. Hopefully nothing will embarrass me. There they go, and the Andrew Barclay. Oh, I thought it was going to stop, it didn't. So I'm saying that these are compatible with any track curves down to second radius. Now, realistically, they'll be, well, I won't say they'll be fine, but they should be fine on first radius. But I'm not guaranteeing it because some combinations of first radius may not be fine. But as you can see, over second radius points, when the logo doesn't cut out, they are perfectly okay. And let's go a bit faster just to prove it. There you go. How about that? Not bad for someone at home in their attic, is it? Oh, the brake van's come off. Deary me, hang on. There we go. That was the brake van, that was the brake van. Old Sam's wagons, all good. Alright, there you go. Let me show you how they get on around the track then. Right, here we go. Obviously, realistically, if these were okay on the points, they'll be fine on the curves, but I'll obviously want to demo it. So there you have it, Barry train with a bit of Furness Railway thrown in as well. So that's it, that's what I'm releasing right now. All of this stuff is available while stocks last, of course. Links in the description. And if you do decide to buy any of this stuff, I want to say a huge, huge thank you to you for that, because anything you buy will really help to keep this channel going. It helps to keep me in business, and it means that I can carry on experimenting and developing these models at home. And this is something I really love to do, and the fact that you guys sort of always buy it and enjoy it means that I can keep doing that. So thank you for that. Also, I'm not a professional. I'm sort of doing this at home, trying to figure it out as I go along. So if you've got any feedback for me, anything you think could be improved, don't hesitate to get in touch. It genuinely will be very useful to get feedback like that. And in the same vein, If there's anything you'd like to see produced that isn't available, get in touch and let me know. You know, I'm a small operation that does this because I love it. I don't analyze everything I create to see whether it's going to be profitable. I don't only create stuff that is guaranteed to be a surefire success. I just do it and say to hell with it because I enjoy it and I want to make something that's good and fun. Yeah, I'm willing to take a chance. I'm not guaranteeing I'll do everything that's suggested, but if there's something you'd like to see done, don't hesitate to let me know. But yeah, there we have it, 5 new wagons. I've got the mystery boxes and also the fancy screw boxes, which help you with your disassembly of locomotives and such. I've been working on this stuff for months and months, so it's quite exciting to finally be showing this stuff and seeing what people think about it, and seeing if people actually want this stuff. And yeah, hopefully people will do. But yeah, for now, that will just about do it. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for supporting my endeavours if you do decide to get any of this stuff. Bear in mind, yeah, I'm not a professional. This is all made right here in the loft, all built in England, all my own designs. It's something that I'm really proud of and something that I thoroughly enjoy, and I'm itching to get started on the next project, and I know what that's going to be. So stay tuned and hopefully you'll see that. But for now, yep, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your support. Have a Merry Christmas, and I hope you enjoy these wagons if you do decide to grab some. So yeah, thanks again for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.